So, ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited answer is here of what the hell the Buffalo Bills were going to do with cornerback Kaiir Elam, and it is now official, folks. Literally 10 to 15 minutes ago, right while we were wrapping up Fourth and Forever, Kaiir Elam was just traded over to the Dallas Cowboys. We ultimately ended up getting an additional fifth-round pick this year, and then also a next year seventh-round pick. Now, what I find to be intriguing is that if Kaiir Elam was on this roster in 2025, he would have served as at about a $4.3 million dead cap hit, or a cap hit, excuse me. Now that he is traded, I want to go ahead and double check because SpotTrack already updated it. Luckily, I was able to get a screenshot prior to me going live of what it was originally. Get this, trading him automatically save $2.5 million to the Buffalo Bills potential spending for the remainder of the free agency period. Now, we've been busy, right? And I think a lot of us, when it comes into Kaiir Elam, we were all asking ourselves, what the hell are we going to do about this guy? I feel like we're going to be stuck with him. Who in the hell is going to roll the dice on a prospect like this? And apparently it was the Dallas Cowboys. I've said this before. I wish Kaiir Elam nothing but the best for the remainder of his career. I think that he was just a cornerback that Brandon Beane, quite frankly, panic picked. I think that he was confident that he could transition him into a zone corner where he was only predominantly known as a man corner in college. Even while he was able to be a man corner in college, he was very handsy. He drew quite a few penalties. Had a couple of pretty key interceptions here and there for this Buffalo Bills team, but he's gone. He's gone. So what does that mean for us? Does that mean that we are currently sniffing around at bringing in another corner to fill his overall roster spot? I can tell you this. That I don't think that we're going to go into the draft with this few amount of corners on the roster. Whether or not that it is Asante Samuel Jr. or whether or not that it's something that's a bit less exciting, like a Dane Jackson or something, or a reunion with Levi Wallace, I believe something is coming, in my opinion, within the next hour or so. And yes, of course, I will be live once again, folks. I am making it a promise that I will be live during each and every single piece of breaking news for you all off season. So if you have not had an opportunity of doing so already, I just ask that you smash that like button for me, the thumbs up sign below this video, and also subscribe to the channel and turn on bell notifications so you never miss an episode, baby. Let's go on ahead and get into the chat. Folks, if you are watching the replay of this episode, this is the portion of the show where I go and I discuss with the live chat with Bills Mafia. What do they have to say about this recent trade with the Dallas Cowboys? I am seeing a lot of celebrations in the chat. For example, my boy LeBron, he is clicking his heels. We have Josh Allen-ism is saying, finally, man, I promise you the sentiment in this chat is something I can probably assume that about 80 to 90% of Bills Mafia is currently feeling as it stands. I do need to give a giant shout out to today's sponsor that just so happens to be Kalshi. Folks, Kalshi is the #1 prediction market on the face of the planet when it comes into predicting and betting on literally everything. If you want to bet on politics, if you want to bet on crypto, climate, economics, companies, financials, you name it, and even sports is right here, right now, folks, including college basketball. Each and every single March Madness game is going to be going insane where it stands. The Big 12 men's basketball winner, Atlantic Coast Tournament quarterfinals. It's insane. Shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring this. If you are interested in signing up, I'm giving you a free $10 just for signing up by using that link pinned at the top of my chat over at Kalshi. I'm absolutely addicted. I ended up correctly predicting what the weather high temperature in New York City was going to be the other day. Cashed out. It was beautiful. Always play responsibly, but go check out Kalshi. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's episode. Broken Tables is coming in. I wished he could have panned out, but I respect his professionalism and never being a distraction. Salute to Kaiir. I mean, look, like I've said before, I am like wishing this young man nothing but success. For all we know, he's going to make a hell of a lot more sense for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe he fits better into their overall system, but he just wasn't a Buffalo Bills corner, right? Like we tried to make him a zone guy. He just didn't really flourish. And he, like, for the most part, was just a healthy scratch more often than we needed him to be. Asante would be a good get if he can stay healthy. So really, we're just talking about one season where he was out, and that was last season, obviously. I would love to add him. He is on top of my list. I'm trying to curb my expectations. I'm not particularly sure that we're going to have the highest bid. And from what I understand, not that I particularly trust the source that this came from, but I have heard that so the Bills are in a bidding war. But again, I'm not so sure how much I trust that specific source. Bills for life. This Elam trade has me believing Bean will go corner at 30 or 56. And he now has to sign a corner in free agency. Yes, I don't think he likes the depth chart currently when it comes into this Buffalo Bills roster. I think that we'll add a corner in free agency here within the next day or so, maybe even within the next hour or so. I'm not saying it's Asante Samuel. I would certainly be absolutely thrilled if that was the case. But if not, then it's going to be more of like a filler, right? Like, don't be surprised once we see Dane Jackson is now a Buffalo Bill, reuniting with the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so we need a new corner in free agency and another corner to back up the starter. I still think corner is going to be our top projection going into the draft. Does this trade mean ASG? I hope so, bro. I hope so. We need a refund on our first round pick right now. Well, I'll tell you what, at least the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the cap space, at least half of it now that he was traded. And we ended up getting another 5th round pick, folks. The amount of picks that we have and a 7th so next year. Please know Dane Jackson, who was in the chat and the other day, and someone said that it would be a miracle if we were to able to walk away with a 6th in general. Look at that, folks. We got a 5th. We got a 5th and we got a 7th next year. It's either the Dallas Cowboys really see something in Kaiir Elam or they are just a piss-poor ran organization. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Please draft Matthew Golden and sign Asante Samuel Jr. In Bean, we trust. I would like a Matthew Golden, especially with how we've been building this team in free agency. Might as well at this point. Yo, Dan, what's up? This is great news. I think they go defensive tackle, then cornerback in the 2nd round. So I think really based off of our moves we've seen so far, folks, we've put ourselves in a position where we can just grab best player available at any given pick, right? Like we can swing for the fences just about anywhere. I'd probably say with all of the investments on our defensive line, I'd probably put wide receiver above as far as list of priorities. That's just me because right now we only have 4 wide receivers on the roster that are starting caliber, in my opinion. I think that's going to be something that the front office is going to be thinking about. You're streaming a lot today, working hard or hardly working. Is there an AFC East roundtable tonight? There certainly is, bro. Listen, man. Listen. You have to stay disciplined in this world. Motivation won't get you through it, baby. What are we going to do with all of these 5th round picks? I would imagine some sort of trade package to hopefully trade up a little bit in some of the mid rounds. I know that Brandon Bean is being kept up at night knowing that he does not have a 3rd round pick. I think that he's likely going to package something to get us there as well. Pat, I mocked Isaiah Bound to Buffalo in the 2nd round. I got him in the 3rd, surprisingly enough. It's really weird to tell where these simulators are going. Like one simulator has specific players going way earlier than what the other simulator suggests. It's just going to be about that time. Dan, which quarterbacks can we get in this draft? All right, man. Listen, Sebastian, favorites in this draft, hands down, have to be Maxwell Hairston. He is a corner out of Kentucky. He was hurt last year for a little bit, but he ran a 4.28. He's very fast, has good size, a lot of upside. He'd be a solid CB2. I do like Siobhan Revel. He did tear his ACL last year at the beginning of the season. I'm still very high on the prospect. I think that he would be a stud. Same thing with Jade Barron as well, but he's going top 10. So there's nothing really that I could find being realistic that So we could ultimately end up seeing. And also, I always forget this guy's name, but he is also a corner that is intriguing to me. Darian Porter as well out of Iowa State. He would be fantastic for this squad. Bye-bye, Kaiir Elam. Khalil Shakir is wishing him farewell. So Kentucky has good corners. They certainly do. They certainly do. Would you trade up for Nick Eminwari? And so I would love Kyle Hamilton clone. He is a stud, man. He is an absolute stud. I think a lot of mock drafts have Eminwari falling to around pick 30. However, I'm not sure if we're going to go safety that early, especially since we brought in that safety earlier today, who I think actually has a lot of upside, potentially. Would not be pissed off at all because I love the prospect. He is indeed a Kyle Hamilton comp, if you ask me, but that's it. All right. And do you think Cook, and by the way, Mr. J. Blonde, I sincerely appreciate the super chat here. And do you think Cook gets traded for a draft pick and we give more time to Davis and Johnson? Would like to move up in the draft to get Kenneth Grant. It's weird about these simulators, right? Because I'm seeing Kenneth Grant fall to us at 30 on 1. And then I'm seeing Kenneth Grant go at like 15, 16. So it's hard to say where some of these teams are going to go. I think now that free agency is cooking and some of these teams are making some pretty significant moves, filling some of their holes, maybe it shifts their priorities as well. I really don't think that these simulators or I'd say, frankly, anybody knows how the board is going to fall once you get past 15 or once you get past 12 even, because teams are addressing some needs and they just need to decide whether or not that those holes are going to be addressed in free agency and or the draft. So maybe. But hey, man, listen, I sincerely appreciate the super chat, dude. You have no idea how far that goes. But listen, guys, the easiest way to show love over here is just quite simply by smashing that like button for me. 625 of you in here rocking with me, 343 on YouTube. Just hit that thumbs up sign for me. And also, when you subscribe, of course, say that you consider doing so. Make sure you turn on that bell notification so you never miss an update. I am always live for breaking Buffalo Bills news. I try to be the first. Every single time that there is significant Buffalo Bills breaking news because I know people want to talk about it, and here I am. On draft day, if you can get Scatabo, then trade Cook after the fact. Interesting. I love the corner out of Florida State. It's Azareye'h Thomas. He is also very good, Joe. And for some reason, I keep forgetting about him. He was great at the Senior Bowl. He was probably one of the best ones that I saw while I was there. Why, Jerry? Oh, no, dude. Oh, no, we have Osmond saying, why the hell, Jerry Jones, did you go on ahead and do that, man? All right. And so do you think an Asante Samuel pickup is still possible? I certainly hope so, bro. This prospect can be elite. Darian Porter, corner out of Iowa State. Great size, dude. 6'3", 200 pounds, solid in coverage. Dan, will Colby be on the AFC East roundtable tonight? Go Bills. Colby will be on the AFC East roundtable tonight. Richie will not be, though. We have a guest Jets representative. I think that the Dallas Mavericks GM, Harrison, snuck into the Cowboys facility to trade for Elam's bum ass. Oh, my God. Dan, and did I forget to tell you, CB pick number 1 in the draft. It is just adding. It's just adding to our theory that CB1 or CB2 is going to be the first selection. We have an Adam Schefter notification. That's always something to look at. It's a depth players being sent over to the Commanders. Last piece of Bills news was Kaiir Elam to the Cowboys. 5th round. We've seen all that. Hey, Dan, and thank you for the content. It's been great for the past couple of days. Can you quickly go over the pros and cons of the safety he just signed? Thank you. So the pros is that, so number 1, he has shown that he could be an absolute freak in the right system. Second pro is that while he demonstrated all of that good behavior back in 2022 prior to losing out on a fractured shoulder, Dan Quinn ended up taking over and phased him out entirely because he didn't fit his scheme. His best season in Washington was prior to Dan Quinn, and it's very similar to what the Buffalo Bills run right now. Number 3, can never sleep on Sean McDermott's ability of getting the most out of anybody in the secondary. Look at what Jordan Poyer turned into once he was on the Bills for the first time, what Micah Hyde turned into once he was on the Buffalo Bills. I think this guy has a lot of upside. I say a bad situation or something to worry about is maybe his injury history, but that was back in 2023. He's 25 years old, and what he had was a fractured shoulder. It's not like a knee injury or anything like that, but I love that pickup, and I think that he indeed will be in competition to be the starting free safety. He's a hard-ass hitter. He's pretty solid in coverage. He's fast as all hell, and that's exactly what you want out of a free safety. So sign me up there, Michael. And losing Elam is an upgrade, and they get a pick. And we get 2 picks, Soul Train. 2 of them, which makes it even more interesting. 416 of you on YouTube right now, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't had an opportunity of doing so already. Where do you think Cooper Kupp will go, and how long do you think he will be on the market? I don't foresee him being on the market much longer. I think that he will be signed. Say that I'm a gambling man, around 7, 8 p.m. tonight. I think that he will either be a Las Vegas Raider. He will be a New England Patriots. I'm trying to think who else. Maybe the Seattle Seahawks at this point, because they certainly need some sort of cheap talent since they walked away from DK and also Tyler Lockett. If the Bills don't get Samuel Jr., and do you believe that Bean would double dip on the DB in the draft? Likely. And so I still think that he's going to double dip at defensive tackle as well. Because do keep in mind, guys, with all of the contracts that we signed today, and they are all one-year deals, right? So just because we walked away with Joey Bosa, in my opinion, does not mean that I think that we're not going to double dip on the defensive tackle position. I still think that that's a strong possibility. We walk away with 2. Because quite frankly, I think Joey Bosa is just a rental this year, because we need some pass rush help up in here, folks. Some pass rush assistance. For the love of all that is godly. Carson is saying, Kupp to Buffalo. I'd pass. I'd pass on that. I would rather keep it young. I've heard Ben Dover is a good prospect, Dan. What are your thoughts on him? I am all too familiar with Ben Dover. That's for damn sure. Soul Train, Kobe Bryant is an interesting prospect at CB. He is. I have had an opportunity of checking him out. Trey Hendrickson is still to be had. I'm not entirely sure that we would make that move at this point, but I would not be upset about it. Love Kobe Bryant. Kupp to the New York Giants potentially, and they have a lot of cap still, like $30 million, I think, and haven't done anything as far as restructuring. May want to add another receiver for another quarterback to get. We have Bills for life. If we don't trade the 30th, 56th, and 62nd, then I think the first 2 selections will most likely be a corner and receiver in no order. And then Bean might go either safety or defensive tackle at 62. And there are still some very good defensive tackle prospects later in the draft. Make no mistake there. Agreed to terms. Kaiir Elam sent over to the Dallas Cowboys, man. The Dallas Cowboys already out, baby. Talk to me. Let's be real. Dane or Elam? Oh, shit. I'm hoping it's Asante Samuel Jr., but I am just prepping myself for the reality that it will likely be Dane Jackson. Cooper Kupp, please, Cowboy. Damn. Imagine if we trade up for Abdul Carter, Edgar. Man, my boy, man, he wants that Abdul Carter action, right? Dan, I love Trey Amos. Watch the tape. I'll do you even one better, Spaghetti Steve. I saw him in person at the Senior Bowl. Was very good for the limited reps that I saw. He ended up pulling a hamstring or some sort of tweak injury, and he had to cut his workout short. But he did look really, really good. Favorite corners in the draft, like realistically, of who we can go after. So I'm obviously not going to include a Jahdae Barron, and I'm not going to include a Will Johnson because I don't see us trading up, and I don't see either of those 2 falling to us in the draft. I love Maxwell Harrison. He's probably number 1 for me. Next up would be Azareye'h Thomas, who was mentioned briefly in the chat earlier. Then would be Siobhan Revel. It's definitely a risk because he's coming off of an ACL injury, but like he would have been right up there with Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron if he didn't get injured. He had a hell of a damn season. And then Kobe Bryant later in the draft would also be intriguing. Troll, so what do you think about drafting Jack Sawyer? He's going in the 3rd round. So say, for example, we could package up all of these 5th round picks that are just sitting and staring us in the face, and that helps us somehow get into the 3rd, then I'm happy. I'm not particularly sure if I would want Jack Sawyer in the 1st or the 2nd, but in the 3rd, if we were able to find our way back there, I'd be a happy dude. Like, so I did this mock draft a bit earlier on one of my previous streams. And this is my 3rd stream of the day, by the way, on this channel. So I did this one. So I picked up Walter Nolan at defensive line, and then I got Darian Porter, and then I got Jack Sawyer in the 2nd round, late 2nd, with our second round pick. I traded up with the Jacksonville Jaguars to get into the 3rd. I got Isaiah Bond, and then I got Cody Simon, linebacker, and then some guard depth at the left guard sort of position, because I want to say that David Edwards is going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. But that's sort of where we're at. And so I get a hard on for 6'3" corners. Oh, damn, brother. What about Tom Sawyer? He's painting my fence right now. Palmer can get his number 5 right now. Get it, man. I had Amos fall to the 2nd round for the Buffalo Bills. I'd be fine with that. That draft is now trash. 1st round is going to be corner. I do like Darian Porter. I'm not going to lie to you. Bean has ammo to move around, just not up high in the 1st. I mean, he technically could if he wanted to, but I just don't really see this draft being something where I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. Even if Bosa doesn't work out in the field, he's going to teach Greg and Solomon so much. Did Javon Holland get picked up yet? Yes, he's a New York Giant. He's a New York Giant, man. Look at that. From one dumpster fire of an organization to the other. Look at that. Great news. Was so tired of watching a guy, and that was more of a man-covered guy constantly getting torched when in man coverage. Gary, yeah, dude, listen, man. Like, he was a man corner in college. We tried turning him into a zone corner, and then we would use him sparingly in situations where we had to run man, and he would also suck at that. So we'll see. We will see. I might serve the Connor Wu. Osman. What does that mean? Jahdae Barron is a stud. He is, but I do not think that he falls to 30. How much do you think it would cost to get Abdul? So we're talking a potential like 1st overall pick, right? So we're talking a potential 1st overall pick. Definitely first 4 picks. Definitely. A lot. A 1st round next year, probably a 2nd this year too. And that's kind of a big price, right? Like, that's a massive price right there for something that's largely unproven, right? It's going to be Dane Jackson since he's familiar with Sean McDermott's system. I know, right? I know. And it's upsetting me. And do you get nervous about free agency signings and injury? I'm not going to lie. Bosa is giving me Von Miller vibes. It's not so much because like it's really like a low risk, like high reward or a high potential reward for Joey Bosa. Because as #sports pointed out earlier today, like we saved $9 million on cutting Von Miller, and then we signed Joey Bosa to $12.5 million to be his replacement. So really, say that you look at it, like we got Joey Bosa for a 1-year, $3.5 million from a cap perspective. And last year, he was relatively healthy. The 2 years before was where it was all bad, right? And when he is healthy, he's averaging, 8, 9+ sacks. And I don't see Bosa being a guy that's going to be out there for 100% of the snaps either, or a significant amount of the snaps. Make Joey Bosa a 45, maximum 60% of the snaps, a rotational dude that can be fresh when we need him in crunch situations. Are the Bills rumors or any decent cornerback free agents? I know we missed on Charvarius Ward, signed with the Colts. I'm still pretty high on Asante Samuel Jr. I'm still hoping, folks, that we can find a way to make that happen. I think Mike Smiley and the other mods have been doing a terrific job. Shout out to all the mods in here. Dwayne, Mike, Smiley, everybody in here for keeping the peace. Sometimes things get hectic over here. I mean, shit, holy hell. There's 445 of you on YouTube right now, which is absolutely insane, rocking with me today. It's not always the easiest when it comes into keeping the peace over here. So shout out to the mods for all their hard work. I love them. The bum is gone now. Smash that like button and subscribe if you are happy. Holy shit. What team do you believe the Bills will trade down with to go into the third round? So it's either a trade down situation or we just package the seemingly endless fifth round picks that we have and get up that way. But I do see us walking away with a third round pick. I do think we get a third round pick this year. It's just in Brandon Beane's DNA. Does the Elam trade boost our signing for Asante Samuel? It saves us about $2.5 million. Saves us about 2.5. Ref Bob is the best mod on this channel. The track reviewer. Holy shit. Ref Bob's the man, dude. And so I have plenty of rings, clown. You still looking for one? Plenty of rangs, clown. I'm not sure what that means, Charles Barkley. Chris B, collect all the fifth round picks. Bryson Reed, Derek Forrest is the best safety on the roster right now. He's solid in coverage, man. He has a lot of upside. Played a hell of a year in a system very similar to the Buffalo Bills in 2022. So I am actually really good with this overall pickup. Thank you, Brian. You are the man. Grizz, what up, man? Who was dumb? I mean, clever enough and to want to trade for that player. I love that, dude. Is Asante cheap? Plus, we restructured Ed Oliver. I think Asante's market value on Spot Track is at around $18 million per year. A 3-year deal is what it's calling for. But again, that is not etched in stone. Of course, the Cowboys would take Elam. They 100% don't ever want to win. Okay, we have some Cowboy fans in here. Very upset. Yo, Dallas Cowboys are talking to Cooper Kupp. Hey, boys, we got some Cowboys fans up in the chat. Yo, listen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And definitely go check out my company, Roundtable Sports. We have a show called the NFC East Roundtable where we put a Cowboys fan, a Commanders fan, an Eagles fan, and, of course, a Giants fan together for a weekly debate show. It's called the NFC East Roundtable live Thursday. You don't want to miss it, Cowboys fans. Could we sign Asante or Blackman now or re-sign Rasul? Blackman, I don't necessarily see being on our list of priorities. I feel like we're good in the safety position, at least from free agency perspective. Asante is who I really want. Re-sign Rasul, I'd pass on that one. Shakir is saying new season starts in 2 minutes. Dude, listen, man, like we are actually limiting the trolls in the chat because it's just super annoying. I'm fine with you like trolling intelligently, but say that you just spam the same thing over and over again, I'm going to instruct my mods to ban you. Okay, so I'm fine with you rocking with me. Just don't be annoying. Punch Bob for good luck to sign Asante. Okay. There you go. Keenan Allen. All right, we have Damar. Help to get that fumble on Lamar in the divisional round. Matthew is saying, how about them Bills? How about them Bills, man? Dan, and do you know Matt Begrest? I do not. Keenan Allen. Perhaps. And Cowboys fans are delusional over there talking about how great Elam is going to be. Bob is giving you the side eye. Oh, man, he already got his punishment. We need some beef on the D still in the draft. Thanks, Dan, for all the great content. The best mafia for life. L freaking go. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Hill Slayer, where did Elam get traded to? He is now a Dallas Cowboy. Is anybody surprised? It's kind of funny because I feel it's kind of funny because I feel like a lot of us were just like, who in the hell is going to trade for Kaiir Elam? And it turns out it turns out. Okay, some breaking news. Steelers former starter Russell Wilson is scheduling a visit to the Browns this week. Wow. Thank you, Jerry Jones. Asante to the Bills, please. Jake. That's what I'm saying. And Bills have all the cards in their favor, and with the stadium almost 75% done. Dan and Bob just asked me, where's the beef? Hence, I kicked his ass for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that's where he belongs. Trash players for a trash team. Russ to the Browns. I mean, he's visiting right now. All right, guys. 873 of you in here. I appreciate you tuning in. Please do me a favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel and turn on bell notifications. I am always going to be live during breaking news for the Buffalo Bills. Always. So it's very important. When you do subscribe, make sure you turn on bell notifications because I want to keep you guys informed. I try to be live first out of everybody. That is national media, that is local media, and that is other YouTubers and content creators. I try to be first because I know the second that it drops, people want to talk about it. All right? So make sure you turn on them bell notifications so you don't miss an impromptu stream. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you a bit later. Deuces.